So if you do a Google search for Hydro-Quebec Twitter, you know how Google auto-completes the sentence for you? The next word that shows up is drôle, funny, because Hydro-Quebec's Twitter is actually really funny. They're kind of sassy. They got a bit of an attitude. And in this morning in our studios as we kick off hour 3 is the team behind Hydro-Quebec's social media. Really excited to have Pierre-Alexandre Buisson, morning.
Hey.
Jonathan Cote, morning.
Morning.
And they are the team behind Hydro-Quebec social media. It's a two-man army.
Yeah.
Yeah, two-man
Awesome.
army.
So, guys, let's talk about this. First off, why don't you just tell me a bit about your career at Hydro-Quebec, how long you've been at Hydro-Quebec, how did you end up at Hydro-Quebec?
Yeah, well, I'll start.
Yeah.
It's Jonathan. I've been at Hydro-Quebec for like 9 years. I didn't actually get in communications first. When I got there, I was doing planning and scheduling for the call centers.
Okay.
But then, like, opportunities show up inside the company, and then I was like, okay, I would really want to get on the media team. There was an opportunity there. And then I guess you just keep going. And eventually I got into social media. And I don't know, it just then kind of snowballed, and we got into what we're in today.
Pierre-Alexandre?
Yeah, I've never had a formal education in communications either. I've done a lot of customer service jobs. I've been in cultural media for a while until like all the written media closed.
Yeah.
And then one day Jonathan hit me up and he was like, "Oh, there's an opening about 2.5 years ago. There's an opening for a job." The job that I'm doing on social media, and I applied and I got it.
So, generally speaking, like government agencies on social media have to sort of keep, decorum, a little like a standard, like, oh, you got to be polite, you got to be nice. You're a government agency, it's customer service, And a little while ago, there was a pivot with Hydro-Quebec social media where you decided to embrace what a lot of companies, corporations are doing, which is being sassy, making jokes, responding to customers in cheeky ways. And I mean, it's kind of hilarious. Some of the things you do, you'll get a response from a customer who will tweet you out something very nasty, okay, about, let's say, a power outage. And I'm going to read one here that you did in English. So this person tweets at you, swears at you, calls you the nastiest thing, the Hydro-Quebec account. And then you write back, "We are sorry that you lost your power for like 5 minutes. Also, we're sorry that your team lost. Do you need a hug?" That's how you respond, right?
Yeah.
So when you went to the bosses and you say, "Hey, listen, we're on social media, we're boring, let's kick it up a notch," how'd you convince them?
Well, this is something that happened very progressively, and it's not something that happened overnight. Just I want to come back to the example you gave.
Yeah.
Definitely there are some cases where we're going to be a bit more careful, and when people are without power, it's one time where we're going to be less sassy.
Yes.
But in that example,
that
which
was
I
us being
recall,
careful.
The guy was swearing at, like, the guy was so rude to you.
There's no way we
Yeah.
could read this comment, what the person had posted on air. But I remember that case, and one thing that I have to say is that we've been very careful at looking at what happened. And if you looked at the Twitter feed of that person, we noticed the tweet that he had an outage, and then we noticed the tweet like 3 or 4 minutes after saying the power came back. So that extremely rude comment was completely out of place. And then we also noticed this person was very frustrated because it was during a hockey game.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the score, and that person was rooting like crazy for a certain team, and then that team lost, and we were like, okay, well, just let's just acknowledge it in our tweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one was kind of edgy, but we definitely made sure that, okay, is this person still without power? Is there something that really wrong that happened? Because the first thing you want to think about is offer a good service.
Yeah.
And that person obviously got their electricity back in like 4 minutes.
Do you ever have a situation where you send something out, or you've sent something out and you're like, I don't know, or you get a visit from a boss who's like, "Let's talk about this"? Has that happened as you attempt to push the envelope?
Well, it has happened a couple of times because of the volume of comments that we receive every day. We can't really examine the context of every comment that we have to answer to. So it's happened before that I thought that somebody was joking and he was not. So I kind of got in on his joke that was not a joke, and that this guy reacted really badly. It was like, I'm not here to joke.
Yeah.
So we apologize. We're human. We make mistakes, and sometimes we don't analyze the situation properly.
For people that are listening to us and they are like, no, it's Hydro-Quebec, they shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff. Can you sort of explain just the vibe on social media that is allowing this to happen, and how it actually helps your branding on social media by being sassy, by being cheeky?
Definitely it does. If we look at the feedback we've been getting regarding this, has been extremely positive. And when it is not positive, then we can explain and apologize if needed, of course. And one thing we should mention is that if you look at what we do online, probably 99% of what we do is pretty neutral in terms of tone and pretty informative. Of course, what stands out and what is most popular is that those times where we've been a bit more sassy or more funny. But if you look at our feed on Facebook and Twitter, mostly it's going to be information and helping out people. And we do have a team doing customer service online that works with us for all the private messages. And whenever we sense there's a situation that needs to be resolved, we're not going to be sassy. We're going to try to offer help, and we're going to refer them to online customer service. And that's how we handle them.
Was there one tweet that you realized, okay, we're on to something, we're doing something, this is the way we're doing these things, it's getting the reaction we want? Was there a tweet or an episode where you're like, oh my God, this is amazing?
I think the beginning of like that change of tone was a few years ago. I don't know if you remember the Camion Gris epised from Radio-Canada. Yeah. They have this online, not this online, but this app sending out news updates, and they were doing a test on
and the notifications went wrong.
Yeah, the notifications were all out of whack, and then it started trending on Twitter, and then all of a sudden we were like, it was talking about a gray truck.
Yes.
And then the hashtag Camion Gris was trending on that day, and then we were like, okay, we have to get in on that joke. But then before that, Hydro-Quebec had never really been like that online.
Yeah.
And so we're like, here's an opportunity. We should go and do it quick. So now you're going around work and trying to convince your director that you really have to tweet out a joke about a great truck, and then try to convince them to do that. But they actually said, yes, let's go and do it.
Yeah.
So we got in on the joke, and then people were like, wow, so Hydro-Quebec can be funny online. And then after that episode, anytime we had a weird, like out of whack idea, we could give that example and say, look, it actually works. And then I guess it kind of went on from then.
Well, love them or hate them, folks, Hydro-Quebec ain't going anywhere. And I'm really happy because we got the social media team at Hydro-Quebec. They're doing stuff that's unique and different. They're being sassy online, which is not something you see every day, particularly from crown corporations. Jonathan Cote and Pierre-Alexandre Buisson are in studio with me now. And guys, I want to read you a couple of text messages we got.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
On our lines here. First off, I'll start with the bad, and then I'll go with
Go ahead.
The bad one here is Hydro-Quebec is a monopoly that doesn't care about the customer. They cause damage, and it's too bad, so sad, not our problems. HQ sucks. Okay, so there's the bad one. Womp womp. Here's the good one though, because we got a really nice one. I think Hydro-Quebec is great. If Quebec was run like Hydro and treated the citizens the way Hydro treats customers, Quebec would be the best and richest destination in Canada. That's from Ron. So I got one nasty one. I got one laudatory, really nice one.
Yeah.
How's that reflect what you see on social media?
It's a pretty good representation of what we see every day. Although I would say we probably see maybe or feel a lot more the negative coming up, because one thing on social media is that it's not a survey, right? It's nothing scientific. Usually the people that are going to comment online, it's only a certain portion of the population, and it does not represent everyone. But then you have to deal with that, and those are actual like real opinions that are out there. But if it can be, I guess it can be difficult on your morale if you see like all these negative comments.
So
like, oh my God,
Pierre-Alexandre, how is it when you does it affect your morale? How do you deal with that? With you're working in an environment, and social media can be very nasty, negative, and you got to partake in that. How does
Well, you can't let that get to you, you know? They always say to artists or people that are creating stuff to do not read the comments. That is a directive that I cannot apply, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have to read them.
You have to read the comments, right?
But you can't take it personally, and you always have to keep a distance. And most of the time, if somebody is really angry at Hydro-Quebec, it reflects maybe a past experience that they've had, or that's somebody that they know have had. So you kind of have to investigate into that and take the time to talk to that person and maybe ask them why they are so angry at us and address the problem.
What's the creative process that you go through when you're coming up with a unique way to get a message out?
Well, you can't really command a joke. It has to come instinctively. So Jonathan and I sit next to one another and we read the comments out loud as they come, especially the
nasty ones.
Oh, wow, okay.
The nasty one kind of have a funny edge to us because sometimes it's really creative. Yeah. So we read them, we laugh, and then we think about ways to reply, and we challenge each other a lot.
But most of the time when we have really funny or sassy replies, we're not going to go in and the first ones we're going to do that to are not the ones that are the most nasty comments or the most frustrated, because these are the ones that probably need more customer service or help. We're going to try to refer them to customer service if needed. But those that we're going to try to get our best jokes out are the ones that come to us with humor. When sometimes it's going to be kind of a bad comment, but if they bring it with humor, sometimes we're going to reply with humor. Those are I guess the most safest ones we can reply to with humor.
Why does, for those listening who aren't all social media savvy, why does being a jerk work on Twitter?
I don't know. I think it kind of over the years, it's something that kind of I don't know. Twitter kind of evolved that way, but
it's become one of the dynamics of Twitter, in my opinion.
Yeah, but we do one on Twitter, but also on Facebook. But we try to vary the tone we use and the types of humor, because sometimes, being kind of a jerk works as a type of humor, but we also have other types of things. Just as an example, once somebody wrote a poem to us on Facebook to complain about a situation around his area, and so we were like, okay, well, let's reply to him with a poem. So Pierre Alexandre got to write a really nice poem that had all the messages we would have replied to what the person had to say. So we often try to, I guess, push the creative envelope and try to adapt to whatever people
try
throw
things,
at us.
Yes, yeah. And what's your favorite social media out of all of them?
It really is Facebook, I have to say.
Why?
People are more themselves. Often on Twitter, people are hidden between ridiculous monikers, and they kind of think that they're activists. On Facebook, Facebook doesn't allow you to have a fake personality on there. It's your name.
Yes, that's right.
I would say I kind of. Me too. I think I prefer personally Facebook, but Twitter has this virality that you don't find as much on Facebook. And if you look at I guess the interactions we've had online that were the most popular or the most viral are almost all on Twitter.
Because they're a little brief nugget that can get people to laugh, and they click on retweet, and that can go crazy.
So it's really a one-line punch.
So let me just try and do this in a radio-friendly format, because one of those monster hits that you had,
we know you can do it, Elias.
Yeah. I'm the broadcaster, I better figure out a way. But one of those tweets that was successful is you had a customer, and again, it's a guy that has a username. It's Twitter, so the username could be anyone. You don't know who the person is, and was talking about how Hydro-Quebec sends out tips on how to save electricity and that kind of stuff. And he's like, I really want to spend my time in the shower pleasuring myself with a cold shower. And then you respond with a really funny retort.
Actually, I think what he was saying is, we're like, I want to spend time pleasuring myself in the shower. Well, I actually, it's going to start getting cold, so Hydro-Quebec is going to start sending out tips on how to save on electricity, including spending less time pleasuring yourself in the shower, something like that. And then we replied saying, well, you can still do it in the shower if you want, but just do it with cold water. So we'll save on energy. I think it was probably one of our most viral tweets in Quebec, because there was another one that was more viral, but outside the country, which we can probably
Which one was that?
The one in Korea.
What happened in Korea? Tell me.
It was really really weird. Somebody didn't even identify us in a tweet, but they just said that they hated Hydro-Quebec with a passion.
Okay.
And I replied, we like to answer to hate with love. And I sent out like a gif of a teddy bear sending hearts. And it it evolved into a conversation about this person's favorite K-pop band, which is BTS.
Yes.
And they asked me what my favorite member was, so I replied Jungkook. But I asked them to steer the conversation back to the matter at hand, like why they hated us, and they were like, "It's okay." My power came back, and BTS, so we're good.
It's funny how there's something about Korean K-pop that gets people going crazy.
But this is only the beginning. We kind of noticed after doing this that like people went crazy about this, and it actually made the news in Korea. and then Pierre Alexandre went on Salut Bonjour to talk about that. It was like crazy. There were like millions of people who saw that tweet in Asia because they were like, okay, here's this electricity company who actually seems to like BTS somehow.
Jonathan Cotier and Pierre-Alexandre Buisson, the team behind social media Hydro-Quebec. And I do want to point out, so you've got Hydro-Quebec, the French site, but you also have Hydro_customer, which is the English version of the Hydro-Quebec social media side. And you offer bilingual service. And I say, we're an English station here. We really do appreciate that you do that.
Yeah. So if you need anything, you can come to us on Hydro Customer, and even on Facebook, if you talk to us in English, we reply in English. We're just
perfectly bilingual.
Yeah. Awesome, as you've shown here.
Toaster.
Thanks. That is awesome, guys. Thanks so much for coming in. Enjoy your lunch, which is your next item on the agenda.
Thank you.